Hello and welcome. Hope you're doing alright. I'm doing absolutely fantastic on this bank holiday Monday. Turned out really nice. It was a bit dodgy this morning, but yeah, it's been good. So I've been tying up some loose ends between jumping from winter spring into summer spring, you might say, or spring summer. So yeah, you catch me just in my last task. You can see my tiki heads have got a little bit of hair. One of them's missing a tooth because the snail has found a nice place to kip out. And yeah, I thought the last time I'd done one of these was a few weeks ago now when I bought all the new ferns. Everything is now in its place, so I'm not chasing my tail anymore on that. The last task I had was in the centre here. You've probably seen I had all my rubbish, like, all the old banana leaves, all the old fronds that I chopped, everything like that, with loads of just mud and whatnot. So what I've been doing today is going through it and chopping it all up and sorting it into 3 spots. The reason I put it like that was so that all the bugs could have somewhere to overwinter. Now they can be free and run into the garden and eat all the aphids, hopefully. But I need to sort them out something for next year. So rather than make this to another bug hotel, you can see there in the bottom right, I've chopped out a load of the woody stuff and the bamboo, all at different lengths, like the whole sort of thing. So what I'm going to do, we'll get to it, but I'm going to make a little bug hotel based on that city in Saudi Arabia where they're it's going to be 25 miles long by like a mile wide. So yeah, I've been going through that, took off all the obvious greenery, raked it all out, took that, put that on the compost heap at the front. That's left me a lot of that there. I was starting to get into the bug layer though, so I've just thinned it all right out over the expanse of that little area. I'll now let that dry out and all the little bugs escape, and then next week or whenever it's dry next, I will go through it all again, rake it all through, take off all the stuff for composting. That should leave me enough mud then to build this area up. Now you see how this front of the patio here is jutting out like the little edge of an octagon. It's the same theory over here, so I've sort of half done the gist of it for you, which is this sort of jut out is going to be this bit with the wood, and then it's going to angle back here on the steps, as you can see, back into that, and then it angles back into the fence post up there. So I need to raise the levels in order to get all this ready for summer. Basically, it's just so when we're having barbecues and that, people can use it. It's not going to be the final thing, but if I level it all off and not make them wobbly and get it sort of pretty much there or thereabouts, then that's just, makes it a bit better. So that's my next thing to do here. Also, what I've got to do, I'll go into it more next time, but I need to get the utilities out here, and by that I mean for the oversoil heating I need to get the flow and return out here ready for next year for that Cyathea and anything else that I might get, like another Cyathea. There's already 2 there, the Dicksonias, etc. And I also need to get the pumped irrigation circuit out, which is just, I'm going to do 1 circuit of irrigation. You can see there on the floor, that's off gravity. If you'll notice, what I did is I put my water butt up quite high, so that means that just by the power of gravity, anything lower than the bottom of that water butt I can just open a tap and it'll water it because the pressure will push it out. Now if you notice, that water butt is about halfway up the fences, so that means that technically I should be able to water pretty much anything on the ground through the gravity. And then things like this vertical garden, which you'll see I've thinned out a little bit, I need to obviously, if I put the irrigation onto that and run it up to that top pouch, the pressure's not going to push it through. So I need to run something off the main just for now. And then also what I'll do is I'll run a little sprinkler or sprayer that will spray the Dicksonia and the Cyathea there, just for this year. And then if I need to, I can rig it up for another Cyathea as well, or whatever, something like that. So I need to get that out in the 2 heating pipes. So what I'm going to do is take up those back row of stones, that edging stone there, and then there's actually behind all of that on the floor there's a gully that I can run stuff up in, because I left it there just in case, and then I can just dig out a little channel behind all that, bring them out there, and that'll do that. So yeah, that's my next thing, is just get all the mud out of there, pop it up here, run the 3 pipes or 4 pipes, whatever it is, through the back of there, and then that's happy for summer. So if we carry on here, like I said, so these Jurassic Golds are coming out. What I did with these was chopped them all off. You can sort of see how nice the that back one's turning green, but these sort of front ones have got that little bit of orange to them, so they're quite nice. They're not big, but they are nice, and I thought because I had 2 of them, they look nice in the tiki heads. Over here again, haven't done anything. The Atratas all come out now, so look at that one there on the left. That is absolutely lovely, probably my favourite fern until otherwise blagged. Otherwise we've just got the holly fern there on the right, which you can get from everywhere, and the Polysticum congestum there, and the Tracheospurnum jasminoides running up here, which will probably take a year to get going. So going on from that, over here Fatceda is starting to go up there in the corner. You can just see in the top left it's starting to get some new growth, so that's pretty good. Otherwise, you probably noticed the vertical garden. I decided that what I'd do is just thin it out, and what I've done is taken the ivy from the centre bed, pop that in there. So what I'll do with that is, as you can see, put it up against that should grip it. In my mind, you can see it's young and vigorous, so hopefully that'll really get going. Then what I'll do is once a week just go around the outside of it any way that isn't the fence post, and just take the secateurs to it. This Droptrix Wallachiana still hasn't come out, but I don't know if it's me, but the one at 3 o'clock and 6 o'clock as we're looking at it, I don't know if that's just got a little twitch in his pants, but to me it looks like it might just be starting to do something. So going on from here, we've got the small Polysticum Plumusum congestum there just in front of the Saphia. Oh yeah, the Saphia is going some. Seeing as it's been cold, these leaves haven't all dried up yet, as you can see, and you can see we've got a nice big monster frond coming out there, which is all nice and hairy. Another one coming out that's going to come out next straight towards us, and there'll be another one that comes out to the right of that new frond as we're looking at it. So over here I put this is one of the new ferns, the Polysticum brownie eye. Obviously it doesn't look like much now, but that should get, it's evergreen, 80 by 80, so you know that should sort of fill that gap there. The small Dicksonia is throwing out some new fronds, so I'm happy with that. You've probably seen my anchor points for this Dicksonia. So this is just me doing what I do best, which is just weird stuff. So you can see it's actually throwing out some new fronds now, but what it is like this one here, which is coming up towards us, the one at 6 o'clock as we're looking at it, if I don't tie that down and weigh it under that stone, then it actually folds right in front of this one that's now at 6 o'clock. So I thought what I'll do is, if I just open these 3 up, because they were all going across this way, wait until all the new fronds have unfurled and the weight of the new fronds is sort of pulling it down and open, and then I'll chop these old ones off. But I just thought I'd open up the crown on that one. That was the only thing I could think of doing, because there's no weight in them because they've all been frosted off. So yeah, that is that. So the Fatsia is going absolutely crazy. This is kind of, you can see there where it stopped last year, where all that dense growth gets towards the end of the year, and then that wasn't there 2 weeks ago when I did the last video. So you can see it's going well, that one. There's also another one here which is a bit slower starting because it went up through the Dicksonia, but he's doing okay. Now this Atrata, I don't know, it is so nice, this thing, that I don't know if it's picking up all the colours, but and the sort of fades, like if you look at this one that's coming up at kind of 11-10 o'clock, can you just see you've got the kind of black rachis or rachis, which is the stem if you like, and then you've got the small black ones running up each leaflet or pinnule, however you want to describe it, and then the colour, I don't know if you can just see the colour is kind of fading off towards the end. It goes a lot darker as it curls off, and then yeah, it's just absolutely fantastic, this thing, and bulletproof as well. So, and look at the fronds unfurling now. I mean, if that's not the Kraken, I don't know what is. So yeah, this thing's doing as it should do, which is coming out, and it's going to come across all of the the edging here, so that's quite nice. So here, this Setiferum, what I did is I chopped everything off it, and you can see all the new stuff is coming out, so he's doing okay. And that's as opposed to that Setiferum now, which I've left all the old stuff on. So I'm just going to see the difference between the two of them, and then what I hopefully do is just take off. You see how this one coming off at 7 o'clock, it's starting to darken up already, you know, as in go brown. So I'll wait for that to go, and then I'll chop that one and take them off sort of individually. But otherwise, the tassel fern still looks absolutely fantastic there. It's coming right out across. It's still got some stuff coming through, so I reckon there's another month of that doing well in there. You can see the aspleniums, all the new stuff is coming up on there. A lot of them I've just left. I haven't trimmed anything off them. The other Cyathea couperii, this one looks a little bit bedraggled, but that was the last one that came up at sort of 10 o'clock, the last frond. That's all nice and lime green. We've got one coming up towards us, so as and when a new one unfurls, I'll take off one of these old ones that didn't quite make it. That's where I put the new Polysticum setiferum. That's so that, like the one over there is doing, they'll both grow big and grow over the Cyathea effectively, and by that time the Cyathea will be throwing out some quite high fronds, and it'll give it a bit of protection. So yeah, next one is the Tyaniana. This one's doing alright. It's just sort of started growing, as you can see there at the top, but as soon as I put this in September, October, this was the one I was really worried about because I was putting it in so late. You can see how thick that stem is now. I mean, that's got to be twice, maybe 3 times as thick as when I put it in, and it hasn't even seen a summer yet. So I'm looking forward to that one. Again, another one that's doing really well is this Blechnum spicant. You can see the new stuff coming out that's lime green and amongst the old stuff, so that's a real nice filler plant, that is. I'm going to get a lot more of them. The Pilostagia verbonoides is doing good. You can just see, I think it's because it's in the sun, it's got this little tinge of yellow to it, but hopefully that'll all bush out. Not in any rush for that one. I moved the Blechnum chilense over here. You can see it's a bit more sort of firm, the leaves on this one, or the fronds if you like. So this one spreads by creeping rhizome. So what I'm going to do, because I want to usher it to the right, is just bury a couple of bricks on the left hand side of it before it gets right next to that irrigation effectively, sort of back and front, and that will just hopefully send it this way. First casualty of the year is probably this Woodwardia radicans, which isn't doing anything yet, but it is tropical and probably the least hardy of a lot of the ferns I've got. Seeing as that Dryopteryx wallichiana is only just starting to get a twitch, I'm going to leave that one in there for now. I have got plans in case it all goes wrong now. Doing a little experiment between these two aspleniums. The one on the left, I've chopped all the old fronds off and they're just the new ones, and the one on the right, I've left them all on there. So I want to see what they look like in the next couple of months. Otherwise, doing all right. I moved all my deciduous ones over. You can see them at the back there, and they are doing absolutely fantastically, and they really add something to it, especially as I haven't got a fence up behind this bit yet. So the two on the left are the shuttlecock ferns, the Matichua Struthiopterus. They're really lime green. The one in the centre at sort of 12 o'clock is a lady fern, a Ethereum Felix femina. But you can see that's really nice and feathery and coming up now. And then to the right there, there's two royal ferns, and remember that those three there, the two royal ferns and the lady fern, they go a real nice coppery summer, coppery colour in the autumn. So yeah, that'll be nice, but they're just there safekeeping. The Schefflera rhododendroflora there on the left, you can see the new growth coming out the top. Is not looking amazing, but it's not dead by the look of it. Tetrapanic still kicking out leaves, getting eaten by slugs. Yeah, what can you do? Lophosauria starting to bounce back to life. It's kind of not good that this thing got knocked back a year or 2 years, but when I put one in opposite it over there where the sword fern, where sort of where the British flag is on that bit, I can get a small one, which is obviously a lot cheaper to marry up, so it looks the same size. So we'll see how that goes in the next you know, the next few times. What we've got over here is that weird thing that's related to bracken. I forgot the name of it again. It begins with H. We'll see how that does. I was thinking it was dead, but then when I dug it up, all the roots looked really healthy and they'd sort of trebled in size, so I just potted him up and we'll see what happens with that. Over here we got the Saxifraga Sonifera. Just look how mental that's going. I got a bit scared when I dug that up out of Camellia Corner because it was so big, and I was thinking I'm not going to put that in with the honeysuckle and that because it'll just absolutely ruin it. So yeah, that's what I've done for now. Just potted it up and kept it well out of the way, and I will decide what to do with that. He may go in a pocket in the vertical garden. So yeah, you can just see the sort of effect the green's having on it, and we've not even started yet. So if we come over to this middle bed, the Ansete's doing well. I've got a new fern in there. We'll go and look at that from the other side. The Polystichum muntium, which should be on this point, is probably dead. Again, another Atrata there. He's doing all right. Be interesting to see how he does, because he's in not full sun, because you can see the Ansete's doing him over, but I've got one in deep shade, one, and we'll call that half and half, and then the next one we'll see in a bit is in sort of full sun. So this one here is the only fern I've ever seen that's had full sun on the label. It doesn't look like a fern because it's grey and silver, but I thought it looked quite nice. That's what he is there. Chilianthus tomentosa. Yeah, we'll see how he does. Only going to be small. Now again, with the Erythrosauria, which is the one that's been really doing really well over winter and was the star of winter, I've got one here which I've taken everything old off. I think that was a mistake because the red doesn't stand out against anything, and the other one I've left it on and it looks a bit better even though the fronds aren't as red. And then if we get over to this Wallachiana, which has been a bit brutalized by the cold, you can see that's definitely more than a twitch in his pants. He's coming out now, so yeah, we're looking forward to that one. So we get over to the last one, or the last bed. You can see the cannas are doing all right. I also finished the trellis off. You can see the little vertical bits underneath that. All three octagons have got that going on. That meant it was ready for the Lonicera, or the giant honeysuckle, which I've put in there. So all I'm doing for now is I've just popped them in there literally last couple of days. I've just got the bamboo there, spreading it out a little bit just to stop it going upwards. I want it to come, one of them, as you can see, to come out towards this post which I've put in, which I don't think you've seen. The post you've seen, but you can just see there where I've got the sort of stuff going around it, the wire to run the honeysuckle up, just so it's got something on. Oh yeah, I forgot. Yeah, you haven't even seen this one here. There, this is the one on the right is the Pindarini, the Aphaenus, the new one that should take full sun. Look how good he looks, and the Atrata looks good. So if you think how big those fronds are at the moment, if they overlap over this wall, it's going to look amazing. Let's not forget one of the other little ones that we got, which is this Asplenium trichomanis. I've just dabbed him in the wall. He seems to be doing all right. We'll see how we do. What I've done is I've built up the soil massively on this side of the wall, so that the roots, hopefully when I sort this wall out for the final time, the soil will be right up. You know, it'll almost be soil holding it up rather than cement, and then that means I can dot a few more plants in there and some other such joyous things, and hopefully they'll all grow. But yeah, I'm happy to get the Larissa in. That's a real something that needed a lot of work, because I've had it since September. It's been in a pot, it's been inside, and it was kind of, I needed to put that fence post in even though there was a wall there, and build all this trellis, which I have done. So yeah, if we just carry on around here for a minute. I've put this Ethereum Ocarnum in here. It doesn't look like it's loving life, so I might need to find another spot for him. The Nephrolopis cordifolia, which I don't understand because that means heart-shaped leaves, and that's, you know, a Boston fern effectively. So yeah, I don't know where they got that from, but there we go. Camellias have dropped all their flowers now pretty much, so they're all going to bush out. What I'm going to do with that pot on the right is put the cuttings from the Monstera in now, or the cheese plant that we've got indoors, and then let that grow up there. The bamboo, I thinned it out last time, so that's all good. You can see now that Matichua Stuthiopteris, they are crazily rooted. This thing here was like you can see it's thrown out front. It's not amazingly big, but if you think that the plant that I took out was only just slightly as big as that frond, those roots are probably 3 times as long as the pot they're in. They're coiled round. I could not believe how big those roots were, like seriously crazy big. But I guess they were looking for water because they like it wet. Yeah, so finally the Australis is in here. He's just about to kick out a new frond, which is coming directly towards us. If I get this way, it might be a bit easier. You can see that one there just at 9 o'clock. So we'll see how that does. Again, Lepidopoda isn't doing great at the moment. The Aphaeus has started going there at the back though, so yeah, happy with that. That should look quite good. And you can sort of see here, these aren't red as red as the other Erythrosaura, but you can see how they stand out against that lime green part there. The only other thing to note really is that when I was digging out for the Larissa the other day, I found the bulb for the Eucomis, so I've put that in there for now, so he's good. And I've just done that pot on the left hand side to marry up with this one on the right hand side, so they're ready to go with some climbers. So yeah, with regard to the bug hotel, you can see I've cut off all these at different heights and different lengths and whatnot. What I'm going to do is over here between the original fence and my flower bed, I've put in some kind of shutter in board in. Can you see that running along the back on the front of the fence post? So what I'm going to do, that gap between the fence and the shuttering board, I'm going to fill it. You can just see I've started down there throwing some sticks in there, but my aim is, and then it will stop all the stinging that was coming up from the other side of the fence, but if I fill that whole gap all the way up and through with little sticks and twigs, that should be a nice habitat for the bugs to live in, and then when they come out every summer they can eat all the aphids in the garden. So yeah, anyway, we're getting there. I think next time will be the official video for me to switch it from spring to summer mode, and we'll go from there. But there you go, there's a little update. There's the Cyathea. Happy days, life is good.